Welcome to Pursuit of Light podcast. My name is Nate Byers and I will be your host today. Welcome to episode 2. Congrats, you made it. Episode 2, let's get real. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to learn more information about myself or projects that I'm working on, or I guess more information about the podcast. You can follow me. My handle is at Nate Byers. I try to post a couple times a week. I try to stay active, so you can check our website out, pursuelight.org. We have resources available, more information about myself and the podcast, what we're trying to do. You can contact me through there. These videos are on YouTube if you want to view them instead of just listen to them, so you can go check that out. Channel is Nate Byers. Also, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review on Apple Podcast. So if you listen on the podcast app, you can just tap the stars, leave a review. It's greatly appreciated, and I'll read through all the reviews so that way I can get your feedback. You don't have to write anything. If you want, just again tap the stars. We are a listener-funded podcast, so that means that all funding for this podcast comes by you, the listeners, and it's greatly appreciated. And if you want to donate, you can. It's pursuelight.org/donate. You don't have to. It's up to you. If you want to, you can. If not, that's fine. So this episode, let's get real. We're going to be talking about my history, some of the different things about me, hence the title, Let's Get Real. I want to get real with you. I don't want this to be fake or come off as me just reading off a script. I want it to be real and authentic. So, my history, let's see. About me, I like sports. I prefer soccer. I've grown up playing soccer since ever. Let's see. I've played most of sports. I haven't played football or hockey, but most other sports I have at least attempted in some aspects. Not very good at them. Soccer was my strong suit. Wasn't very great at it, but I did okay. I like technology. I like playing with little gadgets. It's fun. I like taking things apart, especially with computers and stuff. Don't always put them back together, but they're fun to take apart. Let's see, school. So for school, I went to a public/charter school, from K to about 6th grade. And then from 7th grade on up to 12th grade, I was homeschooled. So that was cool. So I graduated high school in 2016. And then I graduated college this past semester. I don't like school. I prefer to go out. I like to work and do things. And school to me was just super boring, and I just couldn't do it. It was rough. I graduated with a decent grade, so that's all. I guess that's all that matters. I got an associate's in small business entrepreneurship. I like the idea of a small business and one day hopefully running and owning my own small business. I viewed it more as like just like a general business, so it gives me knowledge in all sorts of different things: marketing, accounting, economics, HR stuff. To me, it was just a way so I can get my foot and understand all the different variations and different aspects of business. So some things were like super boring. Some things I found more interesting. But otherwise it was all right. So I want to talk about some of my struggles that I have, gone through, experienced. One of the biggest ones for me is like self-doubt or depression. I've never actually really opened up to anybody about this, so there's only a few people that I've actually told about this. But it probably started, I think it was probably a year or so. I think a little over a year ago. is when I started like really feeling depressed. I've also struggled with anxiety, I'm sure, as anyone has over the course of their middle school and high school career or lives. But depression was like, I don't know, it was hard for me. It would hit me and it would knock me out for whole days where I just literally couldn't do anything. And when I say anything, it was sometimes like a struggle to breathe. You had to like kind of like remind yourself just to breathe, to take that breath in and breathe out. And so it was hard. And I feel like the only thing that really helped me overcome it was this. I started meditating before I went to bed. I would turn on, I found this podcast. I found it like way before. I found it probably a couple years ago. And I like listened to it and I was like, oh, this is cool. And it was really good, really helpful, but I didn't it wasn't a part of my daily routine. And so I just kind of forgot about it. Well, one night the depression hit me and I just couldn't do anything. So for some reason I opened up my phone and just went through and I was finding something to do, because nothing feels appealing. You even trying to watch YouTube or read a book or just stuff that you think is quiet and relaxing. Sometimes you just don't feel like doing, and I just couldn't get myself to do anything. So I was like, let me see if this sounds appealing. And so for some reason opened up my phone, went to the podcast app, and I seen it. I was like, oh, let me try this. And I opened it up, and it just I started listening to it, and it was so good. It just helped me get out of my head. And it's a Christian-based podcast. It's called Encounter. Highly recommend that you go check them out. It's their 10 to 15 minute episodes, I think, but they're really good and it's really relaxing. And the guy that does it is fantastic. Highly recommend you go check it out. But so I did that for a while, for a couple weeks, and that helped, because a lot of my depression was at night. It was when you're falling asleep and your mind, it's dark, your eyes are closed, and your mind just runs. And I couldn't stop it from running. So this was a way for me to put it, or to stop it from running and have it to focus on something else. And so that was kind of my, I don't know, the first step in my recovery process. It just helped me to kind of realize that I can beat this, and so that helped a lot. Also, I started working out again, because during this time, it was about the time that I felt or started feeling depression or symptoms of depression, is when I stopped working out. And I didn't realize it at the time, but now after doing some research, I know that it kind of prevents signs or depression from forming, I guess, if that makes sense. But I didn't realize that, and I didn't correlate it at this time. And so I didn't click and that I should do that. Well, so after I started listening to and meditating at night, then I started to feel a little bit better. And it's just I felt better, just enough where I could do something else. So I started working out before I'd go to bed. So my nightly routine became, when I was kind of winding down, I would get up and go work out, and then and after I was done working out, I'd go shower, brush teeth, do your nightly routine, then get ready for bed. And then as I was laying in my bed, I'd put in my earphones, shut off all the lights, close my eyes, and just lay there and listen and /meditate. And that helped a lot. It helped me the working out. And during that portion, when I first started working out, the only way that I knew, the only way I could fully get on board with working out was by eating healthy. So I did the paleo diet for about a week. And during that week, I worked out. And I think the combination of paleo plus working out plus meditating all helped me get out of that, because it got to a point, again, I'm referencing my depression. It got to a point where it just, I couldn't do anything, and I was just laying there. And this was at its peak. And this was probably a month or so ago, couple months. I guess 3 months now. Time flies, but so I did that, and I feel like paleo helped a lot also. It just kind of like gave you that extra boost because you cut out all sugar and you cut out gluten and some of that stuff, and it just like, it gave me like a detox almost. It hurt, and like you could feel the withdrawals, like an alcoholic, but not drinking alcohol, you could feel the withdrawal of the sugar and the gluten from the bread and stuff. And I couldn't sustain the paleo diet just because I love food and I love sugar and chocolate and hamburgers and cheeseburgers and just everything. And I don't think I could. I want to eventually get back to that point, but by doing the week, it helped me just to like detox almost. And that was huge. It helped me so much. It gave me so much drive and energy and like getting back to my normal self. So it was very good. And then also what helped is reading my Bible. Once I kind of overcame that, and after that week of working out consistently, and I was still working out at that point after that week of paleo, but I stopped paleo and I just kept on working out. And so I could feel depression working its way back in, and so I would go work out, and by working out, it kind of helped me express, because a lot of depression in males, from the little research that I've done, depression in males typically is more aggression based. So you get like very frustrated, and I was getting very frustrated with myself. And so after that, by working out, it was a way to like kind of release some of that frustration I had. But so after that week of paleo, I continued to work out, and then I also started reading my Bible, getting back into it, and I just loved it. It felt like the Holy Spirit called me to that, and that God put me through that experience to lead me back to Himself. Which I don't know, it's amazing. So, but also, and even to this day, I don't think I'll ever recover from depression. But I also struggle with like self-doubt, which I'm sure everyone does. But for me, it's very hard to open up. And like doing this podcast, it's very, I don't know, I'm just very self-critical. And so I feel like I'm not good enough to do anything. So when I say do this podcast, I look at other podcasts for advice or for help or for guidance, and I look at them and go, okay, what are they doing and how can I do that to make mine better? Which is just practical, common sense. It's good business. So I look at these podcasts and see, wow, they're so big. They got X amount of downloads, and their listener, or they got X amount of listeners, and look at the quality of their podcast. And I'd look at that and I go, I can't do that. I am just not good enough. And there's that quote, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Sometimes I've heard it with fear. But to me, that's so true, because my own self-doubt just kills me. It's very hard, and it's taken me several, I don't know, months, these recent past months, after I've overcome kind of depression and got like over the hill. I've been able to like slowly work on my self-criticism and self-doubt. I'm still not to the level I want to be, where it's minimal. But I feel like I'm making progress, so that's good. But so it's very hard for me to to take risks and do stuff like this, where especially creative things like posting or doing photography, posting my pictures. It's hard for me because it's not so much that people are going to view it and they may not have positive things about it, but just like I see someone else's and I'm like, I'm not that good, or I can never be that good, and my work isn't that good. And I just have to constantly remind myself that it took them, they weren't at that level. No one starts out at that high level. They've worked and earned that high level in their skill because they worked at it, and it's taken them 3, 4, 5 years, So I've been just focusing a lot on just taking action, just doing something, because if I can do something, then that doubt isn't controlling me, if that makes sense. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a little bit about myself. Maybe I can do another episode if you guys enjoyed it on sometime more about the things I struggle with. It'd be really cool if I can hear some of your struggles, and so that way we can share and learn from each other and see what works for some, and so that way maybe we can help some people out. So thanks for listening. Next episode is going to be episode 3, the governing light of creation. We're going to be going over the first couple chapters of Genesis, so it should be pretty interesting. So yeah, thanks for listening.